So Ranikhet and Mussoorie are very similar.
But Mussoorie is prettier.
No ways. Ranikhet, hands down.
We can go on debating on this.
Yes.
But,
And that's why I put that picture out there, you know.
Hi, I'm Surabhi Sapra. Welcome to my podcast, The Migrating Occult. The Woodstock School is Asia's oldest international boarding school. Located at an altitude of 7,000 feet in the foothill of Himalayas, it is the ideal place to run wilderness medicine courses, environmental workshops, and the outdoor programs. The Hanifl Centre, established in 2003 and funded by the Woodstock alumni Susan and Paul Hanifl, is an outreach of the Woodstock School. Mr. Akshay Shah joined the Hanifl Centre in 2015. With an experience of more than 2 decades as an outdoor educator, a wilderness medicine instructor, and a naturalist, he loves the simple mountain life. Presently, the director of the Hanifl Centre for Outdoor Education and Environmental Studies, he is vastly experienced in rural development, natural resource management programs, and conservation in the Himalayas. He has even written a couple of manuals on wilderness medicine and outdoor living skills and is very actively involved with the Musuri Mountain Festival. He recently released his first book titled The Corbett Papers, compiled and co-edited with Mr. Stephan Alter. Hello, sir, and welcome to the show.
My pleasure.
Tell us something about your childhood. How did you get involved with nature, with wilderness, your journey, your mentors?
Yeah, so it basically all began when we first moved to Nainital, which is actually my maternal house.
Okay.
I had my schooling at St. Joseph's College, Nainital. And that is where this sort of love with the outdoors and environment and natural history started. I had some amazing mentors, and I feel blessed and lucky for that. Actually, a lot of credit goes to a couple of my friends, my classmates, Anupam Shah and Anupam Visht.
Okay.
So with them, I made very many forays into the forest areas of Nainital, just exploring, and it all began there. And then Brother Walsh sort of gave more direction to it.
Okay.
And then we started getting to know more about trees and birds. And we started getting very inquisitive. And then the best thing to me happened was Mr. D.C. Kala, who happened to be my maternal uncle's friend. He moved as a neighbor.
Okay.
And he took me under his wing. And he just opened up this world for me.
Okay.
So, a very young age for me, he took me on a multi-day hike into Pindari Glacier.
Okay.
And those days we had to walk from Bageshwar to go to Pindari Glacier. Nowadays, there is a road which takes you to the roadhead, which is very near to Pindari.
Easier.
Much easier. I was like a 13-year-old and he was 65-year-old, and the two of us went into Pindari Glacier. So that was my first big foray. And then, I've just been smitten, as they say,
Wow.
by nature.
You seem to be very fond of books. I can see books all over.
Actually, my love affair with books started very differently. My aunt used to read out to us.
Okay.
She would read out to us when we were in grade 2 and grade 3. Anupam Shah, who's also a cousin of mine, gave me a book for those I loved.
Okay.
And that just blew my mind. And I got hooked to books. I got hooked to reading. I was studying at St. Joseph's College, and every week we would have one day nominated for each class where we would go during the lunch break to the school library, and we could take one book
for the week.
Oh,
okay.
I would finish off within a couple of days, and then I had to wait. And this I had started doing for a long time without being caught. Okay. I would take my border friends and I would point out books, and they would issue the books. And in exchange, I had to share my lunch with them. They were boarders,
Okay.
dying for home.
That was a great barter, I think.
Yeah, it was amazing. Then one day, as we were getting out of the library, Brother Walsh tapped on my shoulder, and I thought, boss, I'm caught now. Red-handed at that. And I was really scared. So we were walking back to class and he asked me, I see that you love reading. I said, yes, brother. I was really scared. Then he said, would you like to help me out at the library?
Wow.
I said, yeah.
You must have jumped to the occasion.
So since that day, I would go whenever I had time. I would go and then I had access to the entire library.
Fantastic.
So that is how I started reading. But still, till then, it was very desultory reading. I would be reading whatever I could lay my hands on. If someone pointed out a book, if someone was talking about it, I would be listening to my elders, my cousins and all. And if they dropped the name, I would go search for that book.
Okay.
And then Kala Mama happened in my life. And Kala Mama said, this is not how you read. And his house was full of books. And I would go and rummage through those shelves and spend time and read. And then he told me, this is not how you read. You have to start doing circuits. So he introduced me the whole concept. And then I would read about that era. And I started doing the Latin circuit, the French circuit, the German circuit. And that's how I got into reading.
Okay.
And now I have become a collector. So I like to collect books. So my house is full of
Oh, I'm sure. I'm so sure. Just for the audience, that Kala Mama is, we're talking about Mr. D.C. Kala, who's actually the first biographer of Jim Corbett.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, I mean, if you have mentors like those,
I was
what
really
else
blessed.
can you ask for?
Yes, I was really blessed.
All right. So between all these, trainings and courses, where did you find the time and where did you find your wife? If I may ask.
Yes. So again, it's a very different story. My wife works at India Habitat Centre. She's the programs head there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been working there for more than 23 years now.
Okay.
So we have a very close circle of friends and we always celebrate New Year's together. And so Vidyun Mala Singh, who's the director of programs at India Habitat Centre, and her husband Sanjeev Aluwalia, we call him Alu. So they, Anudi and Coco, so they are also writers, very dear friends. Then Asha. So all of us would celebrate New Year's together. 2013, December, we were having the party at Vidyun's place in Dhamas, which is very near to Ranikhet. I walk in the evening on the 31st of December and I see one girl sitting there and I'm like quizzed. Why is this rank outsider sitting there? What is she doing there? She was introduced to everyone, my colleague. So I said, okay, ma'am's colleague hai, theek hai, fine. And she was in fact knitting a patch for Vidyun's friendship blanket.
Okay.
So she was busy knitting, a casual hi. She finished that patch and sat on the computer and asked Vidyun ki, ma'am, can I play some music? And I was like, who's this girl, And she started playing and she was playing Coke Studio Pakistan.
Oh, wow.
And it was like really good music. So I said, music is good.
Excellent choice.
Yes. So that is how we met for the first time. The story behind all of this is that Vidyun, who knows Renu very well, Renu is like her protege and like her daughter. So in her mind, she had been planning to get us to meet.
Oh, all right.
For almost...
This was all like a...
Yeah, behind the scenes. So for almost 3 years, without telling either of us, she was trying to get us to meet, but I would never go down to Delhi. She would never come.
Imagine, yeah. Okay, so you've been in Mussoorie for almost 8 to 9 years now, right? What was the purpose of shifting from Nainital, which is again very beautiful, and we're talking about the times, to a remote hill station like Mussoorie?
So actually, I moved from Ranikhet, not Nainital, because I grew up in Nainital. And then I ventured out and I was in Gujarat laying oil and gas pipelines. I was doing cathodic protection, all of that. And then I said, no, intellectually very debilitating. So I chucked all of that and moved back into the mountains. This other dear friend of mine, and we worked together, Kuti, who was actually my predecessor here. So he was the director here and he got after me. And I used to come in to Hanifl and as a visiting faculty. So in 2015, I joined full-time here. And now it's been, this is my 9th year. And I wanted to do something up in the mountains, closer to where my roots are. And that's why I got involved with Lok Chetna Manch. And we started doing a lot of different kinds of projects there. And this was sort of like an extension because this is something which I really love. I'm passionate about empowering people, giving them something else which is not run-of-the-mill, opportunity for people in the remoter areas of Uttarakhand. People are moving away for searching for jobs in big cities. So this is how I thought I could give back to nature, the environment and my motherland, which has given so much to me. So Ranikhet and Mussoorie are very similar.
But Mussoorie is prettier.
No ways. Ranikhet, hands down.
We can go on debating on this.
Yes.
But,
and that's why I put that picture out there, just to tell people how beautiful Ranikhet is.
I will send you a picture and then we'll discuss this again. All right. So what is your involvement with Woodstock? And, what kind of courses or programs do you offer?
Yeah. So first thing is that we are part of Woodstock. We are an outreach of Woodstock. And this center was specifically created for outdoor education and environmental studies for our own students. But then it was felt that all this infrastructure, all the paraphernalia, all the gadgetry which we have here is not being, even the human resources is not being optimally used. And then we started opening our doors. So now we are not only catering to our own students, but we are catering to students from all over the world. Different schools, different universities. We have University of Pittsburgh, Yale, NUS, Princeton, University of Puget Sound, Goshen College. So all these different students come in here. Specifically for our students at Woodstock, we have created different kinds of programs. So now for middle years, grade 6, 7 and 8, we have an outdoor education Friday, where students have to go out of their classrooms. No walls day. So they go out.
No walls day.
Yeah. So they are not inside the classroom, but they go out.
Okay.
Because we are also at Woodstock big at not only outdoor education, but place-based education. So we want our students to actually engage with their surroundings.
And in the age of AI and it's amazing that they get to be in the outdoor and in nature.
So that's like our thought process of also sensitizing them towards environment, especially now because we are facing so much pressure of climate change and all of that. So the early years, the kiddos, so they come up and camp at our Burgoyne campground.
Okay.
So it relative safety, but still they get the experience, and that's how we are inculcating them towards outdoor. And then for like the upper years, we have started, especially for grade 11, we have made it now mandatory that they need to do a 2.5-day wilderness first aid course.
Okay.
So now we have become the first school in the world where the entire grade 11 and 12 student body is internationally certified with a WFA certification.
So Hanifl Centre is the only institution in India which is accredited by the Association of Experiential Education by USA. And the center has been recently accredited the prestigious Gold Standard Award.
We are the first organization in India. We are actually only the third in the whole of Asia.
Wow. Okay.
So we are pioneers in many ways as an institution, especially in the Indian subcontinent. We also are L&T partners, Leave No Trace Ethics. Again, we are the only partners in India.
Leave no trace.
Yeah, Leave No Trace is another organization out of the US, which is about how to use the natural spaces without leaving
Carbon footprinting.
Yes. How to minimize.
Okay, that's
So, because Hanifl, we are the first green building of Uttarakhand.
okay.
So, we take it very seriously. So, what kind of footprint we are leaving behind?
Which is very important.
Yes.
What about the Labasna, the courses that you did with them? How was experience?
Oh, it was a very fulfilling experience personally.
Okay.
Because this is such a subject which I am really passionate about, especially in the context of India, where pre-hospital medicine does not really exist. And first aid is actually not taught in medicine schools. Yeah, so all our doctors and nurses, they don't really know first aid. Doctors will get a patient and they will run tests and diagnostics, and based on that they are doing. But if someone in the wilderness gets hurt, they don't know what to do. It is not taught because resources, the doctors and all, they need resources. So that's why a lot of doctors come to take our courses.
Okay.
That's why it is so close to my heart, and because we can actually empower people to save lives.
True.
For me, it is also a part of nation building. And this was the pitch which I was doing with Labasna.
Okay.
And the director, the earlier director, he actually was very keen. So he approached us to do run a course for 200 members of the foundation course. And these are all officers. This year he made it mandatory for the entire foundation course. So we ended up teaching...
Amazing.
Yeah, so we ended up teaching 560 officers.
Wow. Okay.
From across the services.
Okay. I think this training is a must.
It is a must.
It's a must, absolutely.
I believe in it so much that I don't laugh. The first gift I gave my wife was go and do the 10-day course. So I believe in it so much,
No, but I think, like the defense forces, or you can say the police forces, and we are sitting in Uttarakhand, which is so rich in, outdoor sports and mountaineering and these kind of things. Even as a naturalist, we go out into the jungle where we have limited facilities. I think these kind of courses are a must. Absolutely.
So there is, and you've touched the right chord. So yes, it is meant for everyone, no matter what background. People don't understand that what wilderness means in the context of medicine. By definition, wilderness means an hour away from definitive medical care. Right? So definitive is the operative word here. And seriously telling you, I also didn't realize it. I've been teaching this for so long. I also didn't realize it till 2015 when I was at St. Patrick's Hospital, Missoula, Montana, which is like the best hospital in the state of Montana. And it happened to be 4th of July. So we got a 911 call. We are getting in an emergency patient. So we got ready in the emergency room and I was in charge of taking vitals.
Okay.
So I was taking vitals, and as we were moving in, I suddenly realized, oh no, this is wilderness. In that 5-star hospital, that patient was in wilderness because we didn't have a burn unit. That was a 2nd-degree burn patient.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We had choppers up on the rooftop, and but the patient had to be transported to a burn unit. A burn unit, the nearest burn unit was in Seattle or at Salt Lake City, 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours away, an hour away. So everything is wilderness. It depends on what is happening. So it is meant for everyone, even for a housewife, or husband, as the correct pronunciation is, because things happen at home. Again, I give this example again and again. In 2020, I was sitting here during the pandemic. So total lockdown. My dad had lunch and then for his siesta. And as he was walking to his room, he suddenly said with a slight lisp, Akshu, something is happening to my fingers. And my wife quickly did the fast test And she said, hey, he's having a stroke. We immediately got him onto the vehicle and straight to Synergy. The window for treating a stroke is 4.5 hours.
Okay.
Now just imagine if we were not aware, we would have said, "Arey, kuch nahi, jhan ho raha hai, malish kar do, Iodex laga do, so jao." He would have never woken up.
I think India is still not ready for these kind of courses. We have so many of our, jugaadu.
That's why so many people die.
Agreed. How difficult is it to find instructors of your caliber or your patience or even your passion in today's world?
Like when we were young in our times, even educators, even teachers were passionate. Now everything has become transactional. So people are not only following their hearts, but they are following money.
Yeah.
Now I'm happy to say that I have a team. Most of them are handpicked. So who we have chosen, and then I have mentored them and trained them.
Okay.
So I have a good team. Yes.
All right.
So
there are people, but there is still a lot of scarcity.
Especially in the context of India.
Yes.
We are 1.3 billion people.
Just 24.
Just 24 of us won't be able to do anything.
You have written a book, The Corbett Papers, right here. And this has been co-authored with Mr. Stephan Alter. It also compiles research from Kala Mama or Mr. D.C. Kala, who was Jim Corbett's first biographer. Tell us a little about this book and, what made you write it. And
so actually, it's more like we have compiled it and edited it. And again, I was the literary heir to Mr. D.C. Kala. And so I inherited all of this. So not my doing.
Lucky you.
Yes, fortunate for that.
Yes.
I was working on the Mussoorie Mountain Festival in 2020 and doing the virtual version of it. And Steve, because of COVID, and Steve was the director of the festival. So he asked me to do a small section on remembering Mr. D.C. Kala.
Okay.
So I jumped at the thought, and then I took off to Ranikhet, and I was going through his the original manuscript of the Corbett book and Frederick Wilson book, and instinctively I just took them and brought them along to Musuri. And after a couple of days, Steve had come to my office, just sitting here, and I showed it to him, and I said, "Do something with it." So Steve sort of pushed me, and then we worked on it, and we ideated a little bit of what to keep in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, that's how it is.
But it's a very interesting book. I've been through it. It's amazing. After reading about Jim Corbett and the difficult life that he led, I'm a little bit curious because, you were so close to Kala Mama, who was the first biographer of Jim Corbett. So he would have known him in and out, So did Jim Corbett ever have a woman in his life?
So that we have debated.
Okay, that's not just me.
Yeah, and Kala Mama and me, we would sit down together and we had discussions at different levels on different kinds of topics, So from metaphysics to adhyatma, spirituality and everything. So, and birds and bees and everything.
Everything, okay.
So on Corbett also we discussed this. And actually he was working, after this book, he was working on Frederick Wilson. And Frederick Wilson was exactly the opposite of Jim Corbett,
okay,
who led a very colorful life.
Okay.
So this was a question which I asked him also, and he also never had a clue.
Okay. His sister appears a lot,
So they were very close.
Okay. You have worked for the National Outdoor Leadership School in India, right? As a consultant on their natural history projects. Please tell us something about the projects.
So basically, National Outdoor Leadership School is a Knowles, is a US based school which was started by Paul Petzel. Kuti, my friend and my predecessor here, he sort of was a NOLS instructor, and he sort of was the one who brought NOLS into India.
Okay.
It is considered to be the mecca of outdoor schools in the world. We bumped into each other, we became great friends, and then because of my sort of forays into environment and natural history, he asked me to help out with a few things, and that's how my association with NOLS happened.
You also teach a course on the Himalayan Geography for PET.
Yes.
So can you elaborate a bit on that?
We offer 6 subjects.
All right.
And the students have to choose at least 4.
Okay.
So I ended up teaching them Himalayan Geography.
Okay.
And because I like to use the outdoors as a classroom, I also firmly believe that up in the mountains, up in the Himalayas, the veil to God is thinner. So I take this opportunity of taking the students out. So we do a Trans-Himalaya hike in Leh, Ladakh. So I take my students there and talk about that, interpret that, and then we do a high altitude hike here. So we do it in the Tones Valley.
Okay.
And go up to the snow line and back. Then we go to Corbett National Park. We do a cultural section at Ranikhet in a village, homestays. So we go for 7 days, we are there, and I am talking about agriculture, I am talking about architecture, I am talking about people, I am talking about culture. So all of that. So I teach them Himalayan geography that way. So Himalayan geography encompasses not only like the formation of the Himalaya, but the kind of forests we have and the people who live in it. So human geography is also an element of it, not only physical geography. And then there are other subjects which are offered to answer your question, like religion and ecology,
All right.
natural history. So we have other courses around that, and students choose from them.
Okay. Can we please clone you? Like, we need so many more of you. In your book, the Corbett Papers, there is a reproduction of the entire text of the first book written by Mr. Jim Corbett, Jungle Stories. And to quote from there, curiosity is not a human monopoly, right? And many an animal's life is cut short by indulging in it. Mussoorie and Uttarakhand are the hub for mountaineering and, for outdoor sports and nature and wilderness. I mean, why don't we have more of these kind of centers?
We don't have very many centers. Even if you look at outdoors, so we had Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, NIM, and now there are a bunch of others which the government has started, which are only focused towards mountaineering.
So do you feel that after Corona, things will change and because people are stepping out, they want to be closer to nature? Even here you would have seen, suddenly everybody wants to go to the mountains, they want to go for safaris and, anything that is related to nature.
Yes.
So you feel the mindset is changing or?
Yes, definitely. Definitely it made a difference. But has it changed the mindsets? I don't know. Some people have been touched. Like suddenly people were cooped up in their small houses. They couldn't go out and they didn't have anything to do. So they started looking outside of their balconies. And then they started looking at the birds. Oh, wow. And they started getting interested in birds. And they got converted into bird watching. And now they have picked it up as a hobby. So yes, it did make a positive change. There is now suddenly a mushrooming of these Airbnbs and these
small business,
homestays. So actually, it has made a good change also.
But I hope that change is here to stay.
That is what I'm worried about. Has it changed the mindset? I'm not sure. Again, it has become transactional because they are getting some money out of it. That's why they are there. Are they really passionate? Are they starting to conserve their areas?
But at least it's a start.
It is a start.
Yes. Hope that it kind of becomes like a positive change and it carries on.
It carries on, and sort of like the manifestation of it will ultimately encourage others also. Actually what is happening on the ground, suddenly there is all this wildlife around you. you can take it both ways.
Yeah.
You can pick up the gun and go and hunt, or you can start conserving it. So that's like where we are. So I sort of like feel that we are at a crossroad where we can go either ways. I hope
I know.
we go the right.
The positive direction, the right direction. True, true. Okay, so you, as you said, you're very involved with the Mussoorie Mountain Festival, and with Mr. Stephan Alter, as you said, he's your mentor. So yeah, how did this? So how long has it been that this festival has been happening? How did it start? And how its evolution, and with Corona coming in and all. And what is the future that you foresee for this festival?
Steve had this brainwave, and he's one of the most fertile, imaginative guys, So he started this Musuri Writers Festival.
Okay.
He himself is a writer. And what better place to start off? And he ran some 7 editions. And as every year it was evolving, he would get speakers from all across the world. But they initially they were writers and had to do with the mountains. And then it converted into a Mussoorie Mountain Festival from Writers Festival.
Okay.
So he said that why are we limiting it only to writers? Why not the other players? So not only authors, poets, but climbers, movie makers, artists, musicians. So all of them, and then performers of different dance forms from across the Himalayan states.
Okay.
So every year we would pick a theme and do it.
All right.
I got associated with it only in 2015 once I moved here. 3 days of festivities, 3 days of engaging with these different artists, with these climbers, with these writers, with these performers. It was different. To answer your question, future, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we've seen the last of it.
No, don't say that.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, you can't say that. Not at all. So Mussoorie is very rich in flora and fauna, and this whole area where the Woodstock school and the other schools are, this is like the Jabal Khet area.
Yeah.
And it has a dense canopy of trees, also rich in schools and institutions, So do you feel that somewhere the wildlife gets affected because, we have all these walled school gates or the institutions and, people and...
Actually, yes, it gets affected. But wildlife also adapts.
So do you come across man-animal conflict or...
So man-animal conflict within the schools, we have not had that many.
Okay.
Man-animal conflict is limited to monkeys, especially the rhesus macaque. So that does happen.
So humans and wildlife are coexisting.
Yes. And in the Indian context, we have always coexisted with them. That's the difference between forests in India and forests in the Western world. Where they have to go into a forest. Here we live with the forest.
You're also very involved with the Kumaon-based NGO, the Lok Chetna Manch, and you're engaging with the local communities and contributing in the development of the region. What is the initiative or like the main focus of this NGO?
So Lok Chetna Manch was started in 1982.
Okay.
And it was under the guidance of Sarla Ben, Catherine Hillman. We are a Gandhian institute. So strengthening of grassroots level institutions. Forestry was big for us. We've just finished a project with the Forest Department of Uttarakhand, the JICA project, Japan aided project. We are working in 7 forest divisions out of the 11 in Uttarakhand. Then solid waste management is something which we have worked on a lot. We did a project for the lake areas of Nainital called Mission Butterfly. We created and implemented and worked on it for 4.5 years. It was also sort of nominated for the President's Award and for the National Award. We do a lot of work with like AIDS. We did a lot of work with NACO.
Okay.
We did a lot of work with Swajal, so for drinking water. Yeah, we've been working in different sectors. Watershed management
Okay.
is a big sector where we have worked with.
Mhm.
So, but forestry is something which is very close to us. We did the micro planning for 118 villages in joint forestry management under World Bank.
Okay.
So, Lok Chetna Manch has been doing a lot of work. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever faced hardships? Because there are very strong mindset. There are cultures, there are traditions, there's superstitions, and like you have to be. Is it difficult to change the mindset, or to explain what you're trying to say? Then हम ये करेंगे, हम वो नहीं करेंगे. So have you had those kind of hardships?
So they're not. We can't really say that they are hardships because ultimately we are sort of like the outsiders who are going into their area. So approaches have to be different. What we need to understand is how do they think, and we cannot be judgmental, and we shouldn't be judgmental, right? So what is right for us might not be right for them, and we have to respect that. So it is easier working with communities if you are open and if you understand their culture. Then it becomes easy. Raising the awareness level, doing the capacity building at that level. Children are a big change. So our strategy is also like going into the school rather than us going directly
Educate
to
the
them.
children to educate the elders.
Yeah, so once these children go back home, they are telling their parents and they become more open. The urban dwellers create more waste than the villager. So why aren't we pointing fingers at ourselves?
Their needs are limited. I think it's
They are,
us
yeah.
who are like,
Yeah.
agreed. Have you achieved what you set out to pursue?
I went to Gujarat, started a company there, started living there. Then I found it debilitating. Then I came back to my roots and started working with Lok Chetna Manch and doing other stuff. And now I've arrived here. I'm happy. I sleep well.
That's very important.
I wake up looking like I want to go back to work. So every day I feel energized and want to do stuff. But have I achieved? Probably I have not even skimmed anything. So,
But I think then the feeling of having a good night's sleep and waking up in the morning with a smile and say, let's get to work.
yes,
I think that's a very big achievement. And how many of us are actually doing that, or how many of us have actually achieved it? We're just running after materialistic things.
we need to make our own peace. Maybe that is the need of the hour for them. So making wealth is also part of nation building. So I don't think that is wrong. Are you happy or not?
End of the day, you have to be happy.
That contentment should be there.
You're doing fabulous work and
I hope
you're
so.
giving back to the society. I mean, it's at another level. We wish you all the very best. But before I finish, there's one personal question I want to ask you.
Please.
आपके लंबे बालों का राज बताइए.
So it all like again how things turn and how life evolves. So I was in college in Jammu and I was always like breaking the barriers and like do something out of the normal. So I was always like that. That I wanted to like be apart from the others. Like I would paint my own t-shirts. With fabric paints and stuff. So I would go and buy black t-shirts and then paint stuff and then iron them. So I would do all those weird things growing up. I would have like multiple kadas in different kinds, bracelets. So like a junkie type, I was always wear like two shirts, like in those days,
Okay.
two shirts. Who wears two shirts? But I would wear two shirts. My jeans would have like names written all over them. My shoes were like all the metallic bands which we had from Jethro Tull to Def Leppard to everything. So it was like that. I was like that. And I started growing my hair. And I had such long hair. And that time, Sanjay Dutt's movie came out called Thanedar. Yes.
Okay.
And people started like pointing fingers. Hey, Sanjay. I was so mad. I straight away went to a barber and said, chop them off. And I was back to like
Short hair.
short hair. Life took its own path and I came back to Ranikhet, and then my beard started growing and my hair started growing, and I had such long hair, like
Wow.
waist length hair.
Okay.
And I really loved my hair. But I had never had my Karn Ved and my Janeo.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm the eldest in the family. So it always sort of like rankled my brain ki, yaar, one day I'll have to do the final rites and I won't be able to perform. So, 14th January, because that's an auspicious day, I called my mother's eldest sister in Bageshwar, because that's the confluence, and on the banks of the river, in that cold weather, with my dhoti and all, and he looked at my hair and he said ki, पूरे करने? मैंने कहा हाँ यार, करना है तो पूरी किस तरीके से करना. So my hair was shorn, my ears were pierced, so both ears, Karn Ved and the Janeo. So I did that whole thing. Finally, you have to immerse your hair. And seriously, I loved my hair, and then as I was doing, I had tears rolling down my eyes, Again, my hair started growing, and now I have these hair, but they are not as thick, they are not as long.
So this was an amazing session, and I am totally honored to be sitting on the same couch. It is, it's a great honor. Thank you so much. It's been it's been a fantastic session. Thank you so much for giving so much of time.
Right.
And there's a small token that we would like to give to you. So here's a small token of appreciation for giving us so much of time. This is a photograph that I have clicked.
Where?
Yellow-throated martin.
I know.
This is in Corbett, in Chofta.
Yes, Timnath. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, these are rhododendron arboreum.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was just fortunate enough to capture this.
Wow.
This notorious little creature was, running here and there. And
Wow, so sweet. Lovely.
I just thought that maybe, because Hanifl Centre is also full of yellow-throated martins. So
This is definitely going to adorn one of these walls.
I hope so, sir. Thank you so much. I know you're a wonderful photographer.
No. This is like a perfect gift, because that day you saw the yellow-throated mud.
Yes.
They're all around
Yeah.
on the hillside.
Yeah.
So this is lovely.
You enjoy this photograph.
Oh, I'm touched.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being on our channel, Migrating Ockle by Innovative.
3, 2,